Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Meet Praneeth. In today's video, we are going to discuss two things. First, ROW, which also mean rest of the world. And the second is current retrogression. We'll also try to touch on the topic of if EB-2 India would move forward in the coming year. So let's jump in this video right away. So before jumping into the topics of today, let me first thank each and every one of you who is watching this video. And thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for motivating me, and please keep doing this. If you're liking the content, please share it with your friends, family and colleagues. And if you like it, please hit the like button. Please consider subscribing to the channel. This really motivates me, and I'll try my very best to bring the fresh and unique content to all of you every week. Now, coming to the topic, RW means rest of the world, right? Now, in the previous video, if you have not seen it, please go. I will put a link on the in the description as well. It should be popping up somewhere here. Now, if you go to that video, I showed you how the spillover works from one category to the other, right? And just to give a recap, how things work is, let's say there were 100,000 visas. Now, 28.6% of them would go to EB1, similar would go to EB2 and 3. And 7.1% of it will go to EB4 and EB5. Now, once these numbers are allotted, anything which is not used in EB4 and EB5 goes to EB1. Anything which was not used in EB1 goes to EB2. And similarly, anything which is not used in EB2 goes to EB3. And this is how the spillover works. Now, this spillover, when it's all the spillover is going on, it also is coined, the term is coined, and it's called rest of the world. Why? Because let's say in EB4 and EB5, 100 visas were not used. And I'm just giving a very rough number, a number or two which is easy to calculate. So if there's 100 visas were not used, those go to EB1, and that becomes EB1 rest of the world, right? Similarly, let's say those 100 were again not used in EB1, those go to EB2 and subsequently to EB3. Now, it is also said that let's say those 100 visas which were coming to EB2, which is EB2 rest of the world, will be used by uscis for the country which is most retrogressed. And in our case, for example, in EB2 and EB3, I think India is the most retrogressed country currently. And I think, so let's say if any number of visas that are coming from EB1 which is not used would be used by India for kind of helping with the retrogression. Now, this is one concept. From my understanding, if we go back to the numbers, and let's start with the numbers of 2023. So the cycle will start on 1st of October 2022. So 30th September is the last day. And that's when this video would be on the channel, and you will be watching it. So what happens is, on 1st of October, a new cycle starts. And this year, USCIS says that there are 200,000 visas available in the employment-based category. Generally, only 140,000 visas are available. But this time there are extra 60,000 visas, and the reason is that there are a lot of MVC applications which are still pending, and because of the pandemic things were slowed down, and that's why there are a lot of spillovers from the family-based visas which are being utilized in the employment base. So it's a very good news. It's very good for all the categories, especially EB2 and EB3. Now, with 200,000 visas, if I go back to my book, which I have some numbers. Now, EB1 has 57,200, EB2 has 57,200, EB3 has 57,200, EB4 has 14,000, and EB5 has 14,000. And this is based on 200,000 visas which are available for employment-based category. Now, let's say, I'm just taking a rough number, and let's say 10% of the visas were not used in EB1. Right. And I'm not even considering EB4 and EB5 right now, because let's say if anything comes to EB1, that's being all utilized. And let's say only 10% were left which were not utilized. Right. So of 57,200, 10% would come to 5,720. Now that goes to EB2. Now the total number of EB2 comes to 62,920, right? Because it was already 57,200. Now we added 5,000 more to it, so it becomes 62,000. Now, those 62,000, out of that, I think 7% would be allotted to India, right? And that would come to around 4,404 visas. Now, is a very small number. And this is how retrogression starts to happen, right? Because there are a very small number of visas available for each country, especially for India and China, where there is a huge backlog, and that's why more and more people are applying, and they're all basically are adding up to the queue, and this is how the retrogression is progressing. Now, if you just take back a second, we go back in a second, like we kind of discuss this number again. Now, each year, let's say 100 people apply, right? Now, if there are only 100 people applying, 4,000 visas are enough, but that's not the case. I think there are tens and thousands of people who are applying in EB-2 category and EB-3 category every year, right? So if we say that, let's say by 2022, there are 100,000 people who are still waiting for their green cards. Now, if we use 4,000 visas per year, and I'm not even talking about the spillover which goes to the most retrogressed country, because I'm not sure how that numbers are allotted, and I don't want to speak about something which I'm not very sure about. So I am just going with the numbers that we have in hand. Now, if you divide 400,000 by 4,000, that comes to somewhere around 22. So that tells that it will take at least 20 to 22 years to finish the current backlog with the number of visas that are available, right? Now, one thing to remember is this 200,000 will not always be available, because at some point of time, USCIS will catch up on the family-based visas, and the backlogs in the NVC would go down. So probably this number will start to decrease, and it might come or end up to 140,000 in some years. So coming to the point, if EB-2 India would progress, I think it will. The reason is because you have 4,000 visas available this year, and there would be some spillover which would be added to it. Now, there is a very interesting thing that I read in USCIS, and I'll quote that here so that you all can read. So there is a section in Immigration and Nationality Act of 1952, and that section is called 205, and then there is section 5A, which basically tells that, let's say if there are 100,000 visas available. I'm just explaining you in plain English, and I'll also quote that here in this video. So let's say there are 100,000 visas available, and let's say there are only 90,000 people present at the moment that require the visas, right? So the 10,000 visas which were not used will be allotted to the country or the foreign state without the per country quota. So in that case, USCIS can use that 10,000 visas for India, because India is most retrogressed, right, to remove the backlog. So that is a section, and that section is in INA, which is Immigration and Nationality Act of 1952, section 205, 5A. I'm not very, I don't know exactly how to pronounce all these terms, but I'm just telling in plain English. So if that's the case, and if we take that case and apply to the current thing, and let's say there are 200,000 visas available, but only 180,000 people are in the line, right? However, that's not the case because India is retrogressed. But at that year, in this 2020-2023 cycle, let's say only 180,000 people are require visa. That means 20,000 visa will be available, which could be given to EB-2 India, because then the per country quota doesn't apply. So if we take that into account, I think the retrogression would move, and it would basically progress. Not the retrogression, in the final election charts or the final election dates or the current year EB-2 current India is in would progress, and I think it should move to at least a year ahead. But again, all these are based on the numbers we see and assumptions that we are taking, right? So there's no number right now that is available that USCIS says that, well, these are the number of visas that are ready to be applied, and these are the number of visas that will go to this category or this category. So it's just an assumption. And I think most of the people or the videos that you'll see or the websites that you'll go through, they're all based on assumption. And that's why I would say that don't go with the fact that, well, it will take a lifetime to get a visa. I think there definitely would be things or laws will coming into place to help this kind of retrogression, because if you are in, let's say, in 30s and you're waiting for your visa, if it takes another 70 years, that means what's the point of applying it, right? People can go to other countries, or they can do some other, maybe invest some money and then go through EB-5 route, or let's say you can upgrade your application and go through EB-1 route. So I am hopeful, and I'm pretty hopeful that things will progress. I think the other thing that uscis does mention, I will put the link of that because back in this year, I think first EB-3 progressed back in this year, or maybe 2020, somewhere in that time, and a lot of people from EB-2 kind of downgraded to EB-3. Now that, I think, kind of also increases this backlog, because a lot of people are downgrading, and then once suddenly, let's say, EB-2 progresses, a lot of people in EB-3 kind of going back to an upgraded. So I think that creates duplicate copies of applications, and I'm not sure how USCIS tackles that. So that also adds to this retrogression speaking. So I hope I was able to explain all the things that we wanted to discuss in this video. I'm just trying to tell you the perspective that I have found by reading and researching. It's still my assumptions, and do talk to an immigration attorney before making any decision on your case. And I think I'll say this disclaimer again, because this is very important. Anything that I say in this video is based on my experience, all the facts that I have gathered, all the browsing, searching I have done. So do consider talking to an immigration attorney before taking any action on your case. And myself as a friend, I'm very happy to talk to you. You can connect me on LinkedIn. I'll be very happy to talk to you. There are a lot of people who are reaching out on LinkedIn. I'm really appreciate that. So stay tuned for new videos. I'll try to make videos every week, and as you know, the video comes on Friday, 12 p.m. EST. So I hope you're enjoying the content. I hope you're liking the videos. So if you're liking the content, please consider sharing, and subscribing, and also share it with your friends, family, and colleagues. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful weekend, and yeah, all the very best.